2 years into the pandemic, we have a much clearer picture of how COVID-19 has impacted on women's economic status. During the peak of the lockdowns in April 2020, the Philippines registered a record high 17.7% unemployment rate, with women being overrepresented in job losses. Last month, the World Bank released a DFAT-funded report revealing that almost half of the unemployed Filipino women during the pandemic were kept out of the labour force due to housekeeping obligations, compared to only 4% of men. Now, in the Philippines, the World Bank estimates that an increase of a mere 0.5% a year of women in the labour force would increase GDP per capita by almost 10% by 2050. Now, that is truly remarkable. And what it shows is that investing in women can pay big dividends. So as the economy recovers, one of our greatest challenges remains: how do we support women to join or return to the labour force?
In April 2020, we announced that the Macquarie Group allocated 20 million Australian dollars, roughly about 740 million pesos, to the Macquarie Group Foundation to support non-profit organizations working to combat COVID-19. We have since allocated the full 20 million to 40 community organizations in the world. And clearly this is one of the initiatives that we have supported. We have identified this project to help address the longer-term economic recovery needs of the country, and it's recognizing the significant leverage potential through enabling impact investors to unlock private sector capital into women's SMEs.
The foundation really exists to support our people, and the way that they're supporting the communities in which we live and work. So here in the Philippines, we continue to support many different organisations and civil society organisations that are working to address, I suppose, the effects of the pandemic. Together with Eric and many of our staff in the office, we have a local committee who identify the organisations to work with. We're going to continue to support groups addressing labour migration issues. Many of the issues with migration in and out of the Philippines and ways to support that, address vulnerabilities. We're continuing to work with organisations here in the surrounds of Manila around, vulnerable elderly, youth, access to education. So many of the things that I think we've heard about from some of the investees here today as well. And we'll just continue to make sure that we're supporting, as I said, the communities that are so important to our work here in the Philippines.
I want to start by telling our story at InBested. My parents broke out of poverty by getting a college degree. So ever since I was growing up, they taught me that education is a very powerful tool for success, but not everyone has access to it. And my parents were right, because when I was studying engineering in college, I saw my own friends become part of this statistic. And I realized that's why there's 2 million Filipino college students who drop out every year. And that statistic has not changed at all for the past decades. So we realized, me and my co-founders, that there are so many young dreamers who are poor in resources now but are very rich in ambition for tomorrow. They just need guidance and resources to achieve their full potential. We are so grateful for InBest for seeing the gift of what we do, and Australian Aid Investing in Women for supporting and partnering with InBest to do that, because you guys have been able to really lift these young dreamers and their families during this difficult time.
Our business started from a personal experience when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes about 20 years ago. And I was very young then, and I felt that my life was about to end. And I told myself that as my illness progressed, this is not something that I want to let happen, because I have 4 kids and had my whole life ahead of me. So luckily enough, somebody introduced me to a low-carb keto diet, and that really transformed my life, and I was able to reverse my condition. But unfortunately, it was very difficult to sustain, because everybody wants to eat snacks and breads and treats, and everything was not allowed in this lifestyle. So I decided to start making my own products, low carb and sugar free. That was when we started to create products which we shared in our communities. And through the help of InBest, we want to be able to conquer the e-commerce space. But at the same time, we're growing from 2 retail shops who carry us. Now we're going to be set to do 12. And yes, then our commissary is also expanding. So our hope is to be able to export eventually so that we can show that the Filipino woman can compete in this industry.
During the onset of pandemic, we are, despite the limitations and restrictions of the interagency task force, our cooperative were present and initially distributed food packs and hygiene kit to our members. And we are visible in the ground or in the community to assist them, to show them that we care and we were after for their welfare. And with FSSI Investing in Women program, it is enabled to move and to have more motivated and courageous enough to have that commitment and determination in our services to our members.
In this partnership, FPSDC provided us the processing facilities, which is in compliance with the international standards, and the tools and equipments. And counterpart ng aming organization ang working capital. But unfortunately, we don't have that enough funds para sa counterpart. Kaya FPSDC helped us to look for financial assistance from financial institutions, and this is where the FSSI assistance came in, which is the Investing in Women project. We're so blessed. We are already ready to market our product to the mainstream market. We're so blessed that through FPSDC, FSSI, and Investing in Women, na-materialize yung aming enterprise project. It's a dream come true for us.
You know, SME lending in the Philippines is very underdeveloped. It's only about 3% of GDP spending, which compared to other countries in the region like Thailand, is about 37%. So there's still a lot of catching up to do.
As an impact investor, our role is to support enterprises through the pandemic. And FSSI believe that know the importance also of creating innovative mechanisms to be able to deliver products, financial products particularly, that are suited to the needs of the women-led enterprises.
And from the Investing in Women perspective, one of the really exciting things about this partnership is Macquarie Group Foundation brought in more funding, and that's critical. But beyond that, they've also been mentoring and supporting both FSSI and InBest, our two partners, and mentoring some of the SMEs. And obviously Macquarie Group is one of the largest financial services companies in the world. You know, it's pretty exciting to be able to draw on their expertise through this program.
To the investors, women wear many hats for a reason, you know, because we can. So believe in us, and we're mothers because we bear children, because we can do it. So we can also do the same for our businesses. We can grow, we can nurture it, and we will protect it like a mother lion would to its cub, you know. So invest in women.